So thanks, Emily. I've been in the business and the industry for 23 years. And well, it doesn't matter even if you're brand new to the business. I think the first thing that we're all required to do is create a business plan. Right? Managers want to know what you're doing, when you're doing it, what your numbers are, and what you're doing during the day to meet certain goals. And every step that Karina, Rodney, and Brian just mentioned, everything they just said, all of these steps can actually be applied towards your personal life as well. So, I mean, for me, I don't think I really ever focused on actually planning my personal goals. I mean, yes, I have goals and I had like aspirations and things I wanted to do, but I was never really planning for them. And I don't think I was ever even taking action or necessary steps to meet these goals. So, and to make them actually happen. So I think I was just kind of hoping things would just work out. But when I went through a major life change, I started to realign what my priorities were, my values, like what's important to me. And I started to think about things like that meant something in my life, like health, learning new hobbies, buying a house, traveling, journaling, meditating. What I found is all of these personal goals I was working towards, they were a bit more emotional than my professional goals. So they were a lot harder to achieve because I think when we're in our career, there's a lot of incentive there for us, like motivation for us to actually meet these goals. But if I don't produce income, I'm not going to have food on the table. If I don't produce money, if I don't have money coming in, if I don't meet my numbers, I don't have a roof over my head. Or, you might not get that promotion, or you might just simply don't even want to deal with management. So you just meet your numbers, right? But at home, no one is standing over my shoulder. There's no one holding me accountable. It's just me. So personally, my personal goals, they took a back seat to life in general. And I know for a lot of people just getting in the industry, it's like, well, why would I even, who's got time for personal goals when I'm just basically trying to survive? And totally fair to say, but I think without getting to that emotional side of your goals to, and getting that touchy feely part, I think it's difficult for us to quantify like our personal growth. And I know I found myself moving forward professionally, but I felt stuck personally. So once I started to realign that focus, I knew I wanted to be healthier. I knew I wanted to lose weight. And these are all great goals, but it doesn't matter what your goals are if you don't know how you're going to get to that point. So I had to start with the end in mind. Where do I want to be? Yes, I want to lose weight. Okay. How much weight do I want to lose? I had to create that number. But it's not only important to know what that number is or what that goal is, but how are you going to feel when you achieve it? So what benefits are you going to have by actually meeting that number or that goal? What's your reward? And, for example, am I going to fit into the dress, or am I going to feel more confident? How am I going to get to that point? So I decided to join CrossFit, completely out of my comfort zone. I had maybe hadn't gone to a gym in like maybe 5 years. And when I did, I was just taking like classes. I have no idea how to even work the machines. So this was extreme for me, but I also changed my diet. So now I know, joining the gym, got my diet, but I didn't start all of this journey just thinking, okay, I'm going to lose weight in the first week, right? I had to plan for it. And that's just like your professional goals. If you wait to the last minute, it's likely going to be a tremendous task, a very large task that is going to be very difficult to accomplish. So I lined up my steps, and here's the eye opener, because I lined up my steps. I was tracking all of my activity. So I used an app to track my workouts, and I used an app to track my food. And this is a game changer for me, because now I just did something that I was doing professionally with my professional goals, tracking and making sure I checked the boxes. So not only did I now know what I needed to achieve every day in order to meet the steps for my goal, but others could actually see my activity too. So if I'm out there working out by myself and I'm just getting tired, I don't feel like finishing the workout, or, instead of, it's just 5 minutes extra, I'll just stop here. But if you're in a class with other people at 5 a.m. and you don't show up, you don't want to disappoint them, right? Or if you're working out and everyone's still going, you don't want to stop, right? You don't want to be the only one. And if you're logging activity and people can see it, now this is a whole nother story, right? And I mean, honestly, what's the fun in keeping it to yourself anyway? You want to share. So I didn't think it didn't take very long before I started to see some of the results. So then, I just couldn't be stopped from that part. It like from there, like it became part of my lifestyle, like an actual habit. But I started to track and set new goals. I did, things I never did before: deadlifts, back squats, power cleans. But when I set these new goals to learn all of this stuff, I didn't just set out to say, hey, I'm going to deadlift 300 pounds as one of my goals. I mean, that would be silly. I have to be realistic. So obviously I started with lighter weights and then I gradually increased. But, I think sometimes we have to, take a step back and look at what our goals are, because we may not meet those goals. If we're going to set a goal of 300 pounds to deadlift and it's just likely not going to happen, you've got to kind of restart, maybe take a reboot, kind of like your phone or your computer. You didn't meet that number. What happened today isn't necessarily what's going to happen tomorrow. So you have every day to start over little by little. And so here's the thing. If I fail at that 300 pounds, it doesn't mean I need to keep adding more weight or doubling my effort because, or try to work out more just to achieve that 300. It's most likely I'm never going to achieve it. So I've got to rethink, re-strategize. It's like if you're running in the wrong direction, if you think you're going to, just by running faster, it's going to change course. You're still running in the wrong direction. You're just going to get there faster. So, which honestly is another reason why I work with coaches. So they're like our mentors on the professional side, right? So they give me feedback, they give me direction, they help me with proper techniques. They understand it's not always about adding more weight. Maybe I need to stretch more. I don't know. But if I focus on achieving unrealistic goals, I'm probably going to get myself hurt. I mean, so it's important to not only have people to hold you accountable, but also for people to give you feedback and insights. So what are you doing that maybe you're not seeing? And so, for example, I was thrilled when I got my, it was 130 pounds back squat when I got to that point. But what I didn't realize is, what I learned is through feedback from my coaches, getting that feedback. I actually didn't go low enough. I wasn't low enough in the squat. I wasn't all the way down. So I needed to hear that feedback, but it wasn't that I was trying to skip out or try to achieve the goal like a shortcut or something. I just didn't know I was low enough. So sometimes we just can't see things ourselves with these goals. So it's important to have people around you giving you feedback. And I have failed as well at meeting certain goals. It just means, it doesn't mean it didn't necessarily work. It just means maybe I need to change my strategy or my approach. I appreciate, honestly, when I do achieve the goal, if it's been one of those struggles, I know I appreciate it a lot more. And there's that saying, with the roller coaster, you can't appreciate the highs unless you experience the lows. And it's always a learning experience personally. So, and so when sharing, now with social media, I mean, you can share more than ever. So I think not only can it be inspiring for others, but it's also a great way to check in with yourself and to get inspired by others and for you to hold yourself accountable, but also to inspire others. So, but along with social media is we always post all the great stuff. And so it's important to remember that all the hard work, all the effort and everything behind that picture, behind those posts, all the hard work and the failures that typically come behind the scenes, because they're there. We just don't see them. So, I think being able to, again, this eye opener of seeing how I could set my professional goals and work this into my personal life. I mean, it completely, I mean, I blew my goals out of the water. I was able to succeed, but they were on my mind daily, and that strategy worked for me. And of course, everyone's got a different strategy, but I think basically you're the only one that's in control of your future, despite um, everything else that's happening around you, life, and work and the household and everything going on around you. So you're the only one that can keep track and stay on top of your goals. And I mean, that's the only way you're going to be able to meet them and make your dreams come true, unless you want to just kind of go the way I was kind of hanging out there with, coming up with something and just seeing if it sticks. But, and I think I'll just close with, I think even if you don't reach those goals, just setting them, just writing them down and revisiting them until it becomes that habit. But at least it's visual and you're able to revisit it more. But I think it gives you a lot of motivation to keep going and put in more demand, or demand more of yourself as well. So I'll go ahead and hand it back over to Emily and the team. Thanks.